When I'm not teaching, I work at the inpatient unit of St. Anthony's Hospice in Amarillo, Texas. It's a serious place, but not only serious. It's a house that contains everything, including laughter, comedy, farce, pettiness, terror, and peace. Truly a house where all our compulsions meet. One afternoon at hospice, I was summoned to a patient's room to straighten out a lifting apparatus. One of those hanging hand pulls or grab bars that are supposed to dangle over a patient's bed. The patient, an old man, was unable to speak, struggling to breathe, but still trying to communicate. He kept on pointing overhead. The young woman tending him, his granddaughter, thought the device was what he wanted. He was obviously too weak to use it, but he was pointing directly overhead, and all we could see directly overhead was the triangular hand pull knotted up in its chain. So I struggled for long minutes, intensely, absurdly, with that chain. It was quite futile and typically myopic of me, a comedy of mixed signals as I think back on it now. The man before me was dying and pointing out what might have been the one thing needful to see, and there I was, completely engrossed in fiddling with the gadgets on his bed. Then the old man stopped pointing, his hand fell away, his breathing had grown noticeably less labored. He'd arrived at that moment I've seen many times shortly before death, a frozen moment when the eyes open wide and stare intently, unhurriedly, with perfect calm, lucidity, and impenetrability, utter inscrutability. In the Bible Belt, they call it angel gazing. All I can say is that his eyes were trained on something upon or beyond the ceiling. I thought of an antique word, behold. He beheld, he seemed to. As to what he beheld, here my imagination would fly, but fails. I stumble. There was nothing much I could do before leaving the old man and his granddaughter for their precious last moments together, except to fetch another pillow and try to realign the patient's head, now at an odd angle. Then, nothing more being asked of me, I went out. In due course, not long after that, the patient died. The granddaughter requested time alone with the body. Whenever you're ready, we told her. We withdrew. Finally, the young woman emerged from the patient's room and made her way to the nursing station to ask what came next. She seemed dazed, as shaken and confused as she was sad. Before calling the funeral home, one of the nurses offered to accompany the granddaughter back for a last visit to the patient's room to read a poem the nurse had written, a poem about letting go. The nurse made her offer twice, the granddaughter not responding, seeming not to hear the first time. But the second time, she looked up and gave a clear, emphatic answer, no. Although the granddaughter seemed lost and unsure about everything else, she was very sure about not wanting a poem. That young woman's emphatic no has stayed with me and become the prompting for my reflection today. I suppose her role was that of a merely proximate cause to a mind largely prepared for this news. Her answer gave firm voice to something I already more or less suspected. For standing there at the nursing station, overhearing this exchange, I found myself thinking, that's how it is. However appropriate or inappropriate the nurse's timing or motive might have been, however fine or poor her poem, the young woman's refusal, the part of it I recognized and took to heart, echoed in my mind well beyond its original hospice context. That echo said to me that whatever we were writing nowadays was not expected to offer light in a dark place, an outstretched hand in a tight place. That is the present state of expectation as I've come to see it, and I think to a large extent we've earned it. We've worked hard to establish it.